Now our next two speakers are Julia Meisner and Linda Schwarz, both from the German Informatics Society. Julia Meisner is a policy and science officer at the German Informatics Society, and since 2020 she has been working with stakeholders from science, politics and civil society on interdisciplinary projects with a focus on AI and data management, and wants to contribute to a participatory, desirable and digitalized society, whereas Linda Schwarz is a policy and science referee at the German Informatics Society. She studied physics, mathematics and sociology of technology in Berlin, and the main focus of her education were technology assessment and foresight methods. Linda and Julia, I'm very happy to have you here, and I'm very looking forward to a talk about bringing AI ethics principles into development. The stage is yours.
Hi, hello, many thanks for the introduction. So yeah, we're very happy to be here today and talk about a topic many of you are concerned with these days, but only few people know how to address AI ethics. So I hope you can see the illustration. It basically says like many people are passionate about AI ethics, whereas no one or only few people are actually willing to deal with the responsible development of AI. And but first of all, yeah, who are we and why exactly are we giving this talk? Yeah, Linda and Julia from the German Informatics Society, Gesellschaft für Informatik in German, which is like the largest professional association for computer scientists in the German-speaking. In the German-speaking area. And yeah, we represent the interests of our members by working on several kinds of publications, events, and projects ranging from IT security, green IT to AI. And one of our AI project, which is particularly concerned with AI ethics, we would like to introduce to you in the next 20 minutes. But what is AI ethics after all? So AI ethics, just like medical ethics, is implied ethics. And just like data, animal, or robotic ethics relates to non-human phenomenon. And when companies try to implement ethical values in development, they usually take a normative deontological approach, meaning that according to their guidelines, they are oriented to basic rules like we build fair systems, even if these rules or principles would have a negative consequence, for example, on profits. And ethics in the implementation, there's usually like a technology-driven approach. So developers, for example, use measures like explainable AI, data anonymization, to bring ethical principles in development. And another specificity of AI ethics is a partial autonomy of the system. So it's not only the human that has an impact, but also the system. And due to like more and more public coverage, there's a increased awareness on the negative consequences, ethical conflicts and abuses in discrimination, like cases of discrimination or deepfakes, for example. So the reported cases of these conflicts has been increased by 26 times since 2012. And according to a recent survey by the TÜV Association, the majority of the people surveyed are rather afraid of these negative consequences and don't feel properly prepared to deal with AI systems, in particular generative systems. At the same time, the interest in AI ethics and AI ethic research has been growing and is growing during the last years, as measured by more and more contributions to pertinent conferences, events on ethical AI, or organized actors who are dealing with questions around ethical AI. especially since 2018, not only companies, but also governmental, non-governmental organizations and associations drafted and published guidelines with ethical principles and claims. Yeah, like formulating these guidelines or formulating ethical principles is certainly useful. However, principles or definitions mostly remain quite ambiguous and vague. Developing companies don't really know how to deal with the principles and to put them into practice. And it's simply not possible to universally implement ethics and morality into an application to avoid any kind of discrimination. So in summary, due to these ambiguous intentions and definitions and unclear responsibilities, guidelines mainly remain impractical and are failing in many cases. They lack reinforcement mechanisms and rarely have consequences. So they appear rather as a marketing instrument than an actual means to with a significant influence on the decisions of software developers. And against this backdrop, we wanted to explore the good practices that actually help to consider and implement ethical values or ethical principles in AI development, and also find out how even guidelines might be helpful after all. And for this reason, we conducted the Roundtable Series on ethical AI development during the last year, where 13 leading representatives of software developing companies, you can see the participating companies on the footer, have been looking for answers. We already conducted 6 workshops in the AI Campus Berlin. Our concluding workshop will take place next week. And in our approach was based on a open design thinking process to break down the complexity of AI ethics step by step. So we started the series with identifying common challenges, weaknesses, but also strengths and needs of companies and their employees. Then went from the definition of possible solutions to actually develop and test prototypical and cross-sectoral solutions, as the use cases of the participating companies are ranging from maintenance, medical applications, human resources, and sales. So there's quite a broad range of use cases to cover. And right at the beginning, we conducted a survey in the participating companies with more employees to find out the different perception of employees working in these companies, as implementing AI ethics should be a holistic approach, including as many employees as possible. And they found out due to a time restriction, we only present the findings on managers and developers, but we also surveyed employees from, for example, communications and compliance. And so the good finding, or first main finding, was that 1/3 of people in total are calling for more intense consideration of AI ethics and development, and half as many developers as managers. So there's definitely a need. The second and interesting finding compared to this is that particularly developers don't see a substantial connection of AI ethics and their work, and are only half as likely as to know guidelines than managers. And in terms of the challenges we the employees defined, they're from developers to managers, they're quite similar, so unclear processes and responsibilities, a lack of relevance, a lack of knowledge hinder them from considering and implementing AI ethics in their work. And based on these obstacles, our participants defined 3 fields of action. So the first is to intensify the exchange on AI ethics practices to make them more transparent and comparable. The second is raising awareness of AI ethics among decision makers. And the third one is promoting collaboration and knowledge exchange or transfer, not only inside of the industry, but also between the industry, academia, civil society, and politics. And with this, I hand over to Linda for the more fun part, possible solutions.
You don't see this, don't you? The red point? No, it doesn't work here. Okay. It was on the wall, yeah, but not on the... Oh, okay. Well, so where are we now? Julia just described how we have discovered and defined our problems, and now we have our problem definitions, the 3 problems she just talked about, and I will show or tell you how we looked for solutions or, well, let's say prototypes. Well, there are many possibilities to find solutions and many measures. And our participants at first they talked about governance. So the AI Act was a big subject, and they said, others have to tell us what do we have to do. There have to be like standards, and the others, they have to tell us, and then everything will be fine. Second subject, technological measures. They talked about technological possibilities to face ethical problems. Julia already talked about explainable AI, for example, ethics by design, data quality. So perhaps technologies could solve the problems. But soon enough, we discussed that our problems are more social-like. Perhaps just go back. It's like exchange, raise awareness of AI ethics, promote collaboration, knowledge transfer. So, well, perhaps social approach is a bit better, or organizational measures would be much better to solve these problems. And what did we do? We worked in groups. Every group faced one problem, and we talked about specific situations in which specific people of an organization could face these problems. So it was really good that at first we had this survey, so we knew what people thought about it, what problems they had, and we made a brainstorming in the groups and talked about possible solutions, quite creative. And afterwards, we evaluated these solutions and talked about, well, is this first possible solution perhaps really good for the members of the organization? Perhaps the first solution was great for software developers, but not for the managers or the users and so on. And well, in the end, we have now 3 prototypes, which are the results of our round table. And the first of all is a tofu test, it's called. It's a test for organizations so they can map themselves. So what does this mean? With this test, an organization can answer the question, what type of AI developing organization am I? So what's that for? That's the next question. The thought behind it is that if you know what you do, there will possibly be other organizations who do perhaps a bit the same like you. So you can learn from them, from best cases. You can, other organizations have other requirements, other problems. So the result of the test is a type, and our best practices is knowledge that you get for your specific tasks you do in your organization. The second group talked about the AI bubbles, and they stated that there are so many actors involved in AI ethics, like, well, software developers, of course, managers, politicians, lawyers, scientists, and so on, and they should talk to each other more. And so they scanned what conferences are there, and they stated that, well, often politicians talk with politicians, scientists with scientists, and so on. And next week, for example, they go to a festival to, well, open these bubbles a little bit. And the third solution is a repository. It's just a prototype you see here. And it's like a platform, so you can go there via internet. And there are different sections. You see here, you don't have to read the text, of course. So it's like Introduction to AI Ethics. And they scanned which information is already there, does exist to Introduction to AI Ethics. There are perhaps papers, there are perhaps videos via YouTube, podcasts, and so on. Same with effects of AI on society, good practices of AI ethics, events on AI ethics, tools and templates, and so on. And you see that they already gathered such quite a lot of information and pages. So with filters, you can go on this website and find your specific or information that answers your questions. Of course, for example, you can combine this with the TOFU test I presented before. So that's it. What are our takeaways and future perspectives? First of all, I would say that developing a prototype offered the possibility to the participants, not just it was not just the solution which was important, but also, well, the journey is the reward, like that. So it was a possibility for the participants to talk with each other and not to talk in a philosophical way, but to talk about specific problems. And so they could exchange much more efficiently in prototyping. So they could exchange quite good their ideas. And we think that design thinking is quite a good approach to AI ethics, just to have a space, build a space for different participants to find solutions and to exchange their opinions. What now? Well, of course, we want to develop our prototypes even further. The repository, at first, we want to implement it. And for that, we already gathered some feedback. We already gathered some positive feedback. But of course, we are open to more feedback, even to your opinions, to your questions, to our prototype or to our approach. So thank you very much for your attention. And let's stay in touch. Okay.
Thank you very much, Linda and Julia, for this very interesting talk. I think we have time for one question, if there is one. Yeah, right there.
Good question. Like field research, some of the companies who are participating are also members of the German Informatics Society. So it's like a mixture of networking somehow, or like we
already also made a call, so they could apply. But yeah. I know it's only economical organizations, but what was very important for us that there.
Yeah, exactly. There's there's one participant from the public sector, exactly like the Bundesagentur für Arbeit, who joined like in the third roundtable or so, and we.
What was important for us that there are all startups as well as very big organizations like Microsoft. Yeah.
Exactly, sizes matter. So.
Thank you very much. I'm looking to our stage manager if you still have time for one question. Yeah, thumbs up. I saw another question right here before. No?
Okay, thank you very much.
I guess you will stay around, and if any further questions pop up, then you'll be...
Of course.
We'll be around. Thanks for your attention again and for staying.
Thank you again.